format where we dive deep through the fascinating ideas that have been created by famous figures around the world. Today, we are going to investigate existentialist perspective about education, how it shapes identity and personal growth, and also ideas to integrate these themes into teaching. Now with me are the special guests for today's episode, which are Dr. Daniel, a doctor in philosophy specializing in existentialism, Dr. Azri, a psychologist, Sir Murzul Fadli, an experienced teacher, Jakira, our student representative, and finally, Clara, an internet influencer. Welcome everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right? Let's start our discussion by asking Dr. Daniel. Doctor, could you explain to our audience what existentialism is and how it views education's role in shaping identity and personal growth?
Of course, existentialism is best classified as a philosophical movement that focuses on individual freedom, choice, and responsibility. Existentialism is also said to be a protest type of philosophy that started back in the 19th century. It was founded by famous philosophical figures such as Fyodor and Friedrich. It also emphasized that we create our essence through the choices we make in life. In education, existentialists believe that students should be encouraged to explore who they are rather than simply absorbing information. Education becomes a space where students question their values, their purpose, and their identity. It is about helping individuals grow, not just academically, but personally, by challenging them to think about their lives and decisions.
What a great explanation from you, Dr. Daniel. We can see that existentialism isn't just about learning facts, but also shaping who we are as people. Dr. Azri, from a psychologist's perspective, how does existentialism contribute to personal growth in education?
Alright, I'll explain it. Existentialism encourages students to confront the big questions in life, such as who am I and what is my purpose? These are crucial for mental and emotional development. When students are encouraged to think about their identity and choices, it helps them to develop resilience, independence, and a sense of responsibility. Existential counseling, for instance, helps these students who may have lost or anxious about their future. It's about guiding them to find meaning and make authentic choices that reflects their true selves.
That's really insightful of you, Dr. Azri. How about you, Sir Murzul Fadli? As an experienced teacher, how do you see existentialism playing out in the education?
Okay. To share my point of view, I see existentialism is a way to empower students to take ownership of their own learning. There is a method that I found helpful, which is project-based learning. When students work on projects, they get to make choices, think critically, and explore subjects that matter to them. It is less about following a strict curriculum and more about asking, what do you care about? For example, I had students design their own community projects, and they had to figure out what they valued and how they could make difference. It is a valuable experiences that could be a powerful way to encourage their personal growth.
I see. It is good to say that existentialist ideas can be implemented into the teaching. Shakira, as a student, do you feel like this approach helped you to understand better as a student?
Definitely. When we can choose what we want to do, it feels more personal. It's not just about passing exam, it's about what's important to me and how I want to help the world. I remember one project where we should choose any social issue. I choose mental health because it's important to me. It was not just research, it's meant me think about how I connect with others and what role I want to play in my community.
So, existential counseling can be a useful tool in school. Clara, as an influencer, you have a lot of young followers who look you for an advice. How do you think that existentialist ideas can connect to them?
I think young people today are searching for meaning, especially with everything going on in this world. They don't want to follow the same path as everyone else. They want to find their own. In a time when social media promotes a narrow view of success, many feel pressure from comfort. That's why I emphasize making choices that embrace existentialist ideas, like allowing students to choose their project or discuss personal growth. It helps them explore their identities. This is not only build their confidence, but also foster ownership of their life. Living authentically is empowering and resonate with young people eager to have their own paths. It's about giving them the tools to reflect on their values and make meaningful choices.
That's really a delightful statement from you, Ms. Clara. Now, let's talk about the practical ways to integrate these ideas into the education. Sir Muzin Fadli, once again, you mentioned about project-based learning earlier. Are there other strategies teachers can use to bring existentialist themes into the classroom?
Alright. Yes. Alongside project-based learning that I had mentioned before, another approach is by fostering open-ended discussions. The purpose is to let students to be able to think outside the box. So, instead of giving students fixed answers, we ask open questions that don't necessarily have a right or wrong answer. Question like, what does success mean to you? Or like, how do you define happiness? These types of discussions encourage students to reflect on their own personal beliefs and values. It is more engaging and introspective way of learning.
Shakira, do you think students appreciate having this kind of conversation in class?
Absolutely. Sometimes school feel like it's just about memorizing facts. But when we have discussion like this, it feels more real. We can talk about things that matter to us, not just what in the textbook. This makes learning feel more personal and less like just ticking box to get a grade.
Alright. Coming back to you, Dr. Asri, would you agree that this approach helps students' mental health?
Yes, I absolutely agree. It's incredibly beneficial, allowing students to express themselves and think critically about their choices. It helps them to reduce anxiety and feelings of being lost or disconnected. It's important for students to know they have the power to shape their own lives. And when school, and when school encourage these students, when school encourage this to the students will more likely to feel confident and secure in their identity.
Oh, right. I see. I can see that there are some ways that these these philosophies can help the students mentally. Moving on to you, Clara, as someone who practically spends most of the time with young people online, do you think these discussions about identity and personal growth should happen outside of the school too?
Yes, definitely. School can start the conversation, but it shouldn't stop there. Social media offer a great opportunity for young people to explore identity and personal growth. I share content that encourage my followers to think critically about who they are and what they want in their life. By fostering discussion on this platform, we create a culture where young people feel empowered to continue their journey of self-discovery no matter where they are.
Right. That's a very important lesson. To sum up our discussion, what are the last views that you have about existentialism in education before we finish up, Dr. Daniel?
Existentialism reminds us that education is not just about knowledge, but about helping individuals discover themselves. When we encourage students to ask tough questions and make authentic choices, we're not just preparing them for careers, we're helping them live meaningful lives. Each student is unique, and it is important for schools to recognize that. We should create an environment where students can explore their values, beliefs, and ultimately their identity. In the end, education should empower students to live authentically and to understand who they are and what they stand for. That is the ultimate goal of existentialism in education, helping young people not just fit into society, but to create lives of purpose and meaning.
Thank you for your wonderful explanation once again, Dr. Daniel. It has been a pleasure to have this instructive conversation to you guys, the guests. Thank you once again, Dr. Daniel, Dr. Azri, Sir Murzal Fadli, Miss Jekera, and also Miss Clara. In conclusion, we can see that both academic and personal development may greatly benefit from existentialism inside our schooling. It can be expanded to various sectors that we can think of. Thanks for listening, and don't forget that school isn't only about memorizing facts and figures. It is also about finding out who you are as a person. Look forward to seeing you to the next episode of Education Unlocked soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us today.